maybe we should just tell the story on the pod. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like when we tell it, it's like, okay, what is that story? But like to us, it's everything.
Hello and welcome to Read the Last Page,
A book club.
YAP SESH.
With your two favorite long distance best friends. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm your host, B. And how are you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing great. We had too much of a debrief before this, I fear. And now I'm like, what can I say to you? We've been having disgusting weather here. Last night.
Oh, yeah. There were like tornado sirens and stuff like in our hometown.
Yeah, like my little sister specifically. So she was by where the football stadium is, and that's apparently where like it passed right through there. And she said that she could hear it going past like her boyfriend's house, and she said it got really, really loud. And then she lost service, and we couldn't get in touch with her. That was the scariest part. So like she texted us. She said, "Tornado's about less than a mile away, taking cover." I'm freaking out. I'm like, stay safe. Let me know the second you're in the clear. And then she just didn't text back for like 15-20 minutes, and I got so scared. And my mom, who was a bit further out at our house, she was just sending me pictures of my dad just literally like staring up at the sky, like pointing. Like I'm like, guys, we need to make sure Alyssa's okay.
Yeah.
And then luckily she texted back and she was like, sorry, I just like lost service, we're all good, no damage done. But like it got really close to her, and that's
wow.
I can't. I was actually just listening to one of our past episodes where we talked about how there was a tornado in Missouri like back in March, and like we've had a couple like close calls this year. It's been not super fun. Like I've had to go into my pantry 3 times so far. Not fun, you guys. So greetings from Tornado Alley. We are not having a good time. But yeah, the weather's been like, so it got really hot again, and then now it's dipped just because it's super rainy.
That's why.
I know.
That's why the tornadoes are coming.
The highs and the lows of tornado season.
The big highs and lows of Missouri.
It's tragic out here. That does happen to probably be my least favorite thing about Missouri. It's like, I don't like having to worry about this. But it makes watching movies like Twisters super fun. Because you're like, it is all about, at the end of the day, it is all about camaraderie and community, and we will rebuild every time. Yeah, literally. Anyway, but I hope everybody who like, I don't actually know exactly how much damage was done. Yeah, I don't know. So like, I hope everyone's okay, but it's scary out here. Anyway, how are you doing though?
I'm good. So we're recording this episode a little bit early because I'm leaving New York for a month, and it's not gonna really work for me to like bring my recording stuff and record with what I'm doing. So I leave in like 2-3 days or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's like, actually today I was like kind of not feeling so well, and I literally have been like laying in my bed all day, like doing nothing. And at first I was like annoyed with myself, but then I was like, you know what? I'm about to like leave my apartment for a month in my cozy little adorable room. So I was like, I'm just gonna like
take the day
here and enjoy my room before I'm leaving. So I gave myself a positive spin on my situation.
That's true.
But I've been doing laundry and stuff. Sorry if you hear it. Because I'm like, I gotta get my clothes washed because I need to pack tomorrow. Because I don't want to wait till the next day, because I mean, I need to get started tomorrow,
Yeah.
So, and I need to like wash all my bedding and like vacuum my room. Like I want my space to be very clean for when I come back. So that means I got to do a lot of work right now. But that's good. I kind of like, I'll probably put on like National Treasure or something and just like lock in. So
You need to explain to me what your relationship with National Treasure is like in explicit terms, because I know that you like it, but like I feel like we've had over the past year many instances of you being like, and I'm watching National Treasure 1 and 2.
Okay. So I don't even know why. Last year in the fall-ish, I just like got the urge to watch National Treasure.
Classic.
I was just like, movie. I'm gonna watch a movie. Yeah. And I think I had it like on our like fall recommended stuff or whatever. And then I just realized like it's so like I love to rewatch stuff, and it's so rewatchable for me. Because it's like it's very entertaining to me, and it's nostalgic because like I watched it when I was younger. And honestly, I'm trying to replace it. Like what I'm doing is I've replaced watching Harry Potter. Because I feel guilty about streaming Harry Potter.
Valid, yeah.
I have the DVDs, so it's like when I lived at home at my parents' house, and you remember if you guys know me in person, I have a huge bedroom at my parents' house. That makes me sound like a spoiled brat. It was a unique situation.
Yeah.
I had this huge room at my parents' house, and so sometimes I would clean it and it would literally take me like all day.
True. Which is why you would invite me over and I would just sit there and watch. Yeah, it was a task.
So I would always put on Harry Potter. Sorry, there's like dust in the air. I would always put on like the Harry Potter movies when I needed to like lock in. For some reason, it's like having a movie or TV show, it locks me in more than music. Okay. And the Harry Potter movies are like, oh, like I don't need to watch it, with my eyes. I can like just listen as I'm doing stuff, because it's like I've already seen them a million times and whatever. They're nostalgic and So then since moving here, it's like I don't have my DVDs here to watch, so I'll stream it. But I don't really like
putting money in somebody's
going to start someone's. Yes.
Yep.
So I'm like, I need to, but it's like, I can't do this with all movies. They can't all be like background movies to me. Like the movies that I really, really love and cherish, like let's say like Rogue One or something. I need to watch that with my eyes, or Interstellar. Watch that with my eyes. Valid. And then there's like stuff that like won't keep me focused well enough. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I know it. Yeah.
I just know it when I find it. Okay. And so I've watched National Treasure, both of them like on my own. And then I watched them again with my friend Heidi, like in like January, February. And I've just realized, and I watched them again, like, just, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Okay. And I'm just feeling like they're just becoming very, like, it's like when you get to know something like the back of your hand. I feel like I'm just, like, I'm at the point now where I know these movies so well and I love them that they're ready to become, like, my comfort, I don't have to watch it with my eyes anymore, because if I'm just listening. And it's like I have my thing propped up so like I can glance at the screen, right? But I don't feel like I need to like watch it to enjoy it. Yeah. I can listen and I'm going to still enjoy it. And like I can just like pack and like, I'm folding clothes and I'm looking up every now and then. So yeah.
That is just...
Does that make sense?
Yes. No. 100%. So I have a friend who we share who loves National Treasure. If you guys know me, you know who I'm talking about. She does not make it a secret, but and I say that with love, because like I love her I got her a National Treasure poster for her birthday, and it hangs over her bed, and yeah, love. Anyway, but like she just watches those movies a lot, and every time I watch it with her, I'm just like, I sit down, I'm like, gosh, I don't know so much about the second movie. I've only seen it maybe twice, but first movie, I'm like, this is great. Like it's just such good 2000 cinema, where it's like we were locking in to make quality movies with like kind of wacky concepts, and that's why it's so, and like the cast is good. Yeah. So it's like, because nowadays if somebody wanted to make a National Treasure movie, I would say, like, if somebody brought the concept of what if there was a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence, I bet you that would be like a kind of bad Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Like not filmed very well, not a great cast, doesn't look pretty to look at, whatever. But like because we got like it was in the 2000s and like someone, maybe Nicolas Cage signed on first, but something happened where like they're like yeah, Disney's gonna make this and like it's gonna be well made and it's gonna be fun. And like it's not a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece for what it is. It's so good. I remember watching it for the first time in like our 8th grade history class, which I love that we did that. Okay,
that's so funny.
I know. And I remember being like, because I always kind of like assumed it was like a boy movie when I was younger, and like how
me too.
You know how you are when you're a kid. You're like, boy movie, no.
Yeah.
But I remember the second it clicked for me while we were watching it in class that I was like, this is a good movie. Like I sat up so straight. I was like, wait, I'm so invested.
I remember when it came, either the first or second one, I don't remember which, came out. Like my sisters, a couple of my older sisters went and saw it at the theater. Maybe like with my aunt or something. I don't remember. But like I wasn't invited, which it's like that's fine. But I thought it was because like, oh, it's like too adult for me, like too mature or whatever. I thought that's why I wasn't invited, because we were in like 6th grade whenever the one I'm thinking about came out. And then I remember in class, like our teacher asked like, oh, like what'd you guys do over the weekend? And this boy in the class said he went to saw National Treasure, and I was like, he's so grown up. Like I was so like funny. So shook that like he was like allowed to watch it. And then like I watched it a few years later and I was like, there's nothing like bad in this movie. I don't know. I just thought it was like, I don't know. Maybe they are PG-13 just for like scariness or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know. They might be just PG.
I think they're PG, but I
I was like, what? I don't know what I thought was in this movie, but
yeah, I do remember when I was younger too. I didn't want to see it because I was very, very like sensitive as a kid as far as like what I could handle as far as action and like scariness. And I did think like I was like, this is too scary for me. So I think that's why I didn't see it. Another movie I did not like watching, any of the Harry Potter movies. I remember watching the 5th one with my dad, and like you know that scene where like they go into, see, here's the thing, I haven't read Harry Potter years, haven't watched Harry Potter in years. I can't remember anything anymore because my memory is shot. It's like right before they see like Bellatrix and like Sirius, and they're in that like really weird room with all like the shelves. What is that?
Oh, when they're trying to like get the like the prophecy thing?
I think so. Girl, see, I don't even know anymore. The army go, like, it's what they're training to do the whole time. And then they go into this room and it's so dark and scary. And like, and it's like he has the, I'm going to cut all this. I just need to figure out what it is. And they're like walking through this dark room. And then they get attacked by like Draco's dad.
And it's like all the shelves with, it looks like little potion bottles.
Yes, what is that room?
Like all the, I don't know if they call them prophecies. I think so. Like the prophecies are in those little bottles. And it's like you open it up and then it says like, you know, the boy at age 16 will, only one can live.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like the prophecy about him and Voldemort.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
But it's like in this little jar, kind of.
Okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, that is scary.
Yeah. I remember watching like certain scenes like that and like just covering my face. I was so scared. And that's why I didn't have a Harry Potter phase until I was in 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And this is when you came on. Okay. But like, I just remember.
Well, for me, it wasn't until high school.
Yeah, but like the summer into high school.
I guess I started reading it. Yeah. You're right. Wow, wait, you remember my life better than me.
But I can't remember the plot of Harry Potter. Actually,
you have your priorities.
This is true. I can't remember why I got into Harry Potter. I think what happened was Freeform or ABC Family was once having like a marathon, and I think I sat down and just like watched one of the movies, and I was like, wait, this is kind of good. And then I got into a feverish obsession with the movies where I would just like watch them over and over and over again on my TV. And then I like was up in those Tumblr tags, really not minding my business. And then you were also kind of, I don't remember how we got in together, but like we just decided to read them together. Mm-hmm. And then we had our mega massive awesome 12-hour marathon that we did.
Yeah, try 24 hours, but yeah.
I meant to say 24 and I said 12. No, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But then and then once I got to college though, I just think I like lost interest in Harry Potter, and then now I'm just kind of like I don't remember many of the plots.
Yeah.
But that's okay. As we've mentioned, it's like maybe that's for the best.
Right.
You know.
But it's like it's unfortunately such a large part of the culture at, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, you hiding your eyes for scary things, that's how I was, but for PG-13 movies, just like I remember when, I don't know if I already mentioned this on the podcast, but when we were, I think in 8th grade, like New Year's Eve, we were at like, the besties sleepover, with a bunch of, the girls our age, all our friends.
Yes.
And everyone was like, let's watch Pitch Perfect. But I was the only one who hadn't seen it. Mind you, I was 13, but like, I don't know. I think it came out before we were 13. And so then everyone else watched it, but I hadn't yet.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I don't know, guys. Like, I'm like, I don't really know if I should watch that. Like, I think it's too inappropriate for me. And our friend said, Laura, it's just like High School Musical, but in college. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, okay,
kind of, but also,
well. And then I remember, like, right before she throws up during the first song.
Tough.
You guys all covered your eyes.
Sorry.
And no one gave me a warning.
Hey, I didn't get a warning the first time I watched it either. So
wait, everyone was like laughing because I was like, what's everyone doing? And everyone's like laughing because they knew I'm about to have to witness it.
My bad. Hey. In my defense, I was 14. And nowadays I think I would have given you the warning. But that was my
it's okay.
That was my first like movie I saw at age 13, like by myself. Like I went to the movies with me and 2 friends. And that was like, yeah, we saw that movie. Packed house, by the way. We were in the very, very first row. I'm going to bleep his name, but from high school sitting next to me on a date.
That's crazy.
Really insane vibes.
I remember when the second one came out. I think it was the second one. I was in the choir, the like freshman sophomore choir.
Oh,
and all the girls in it, we were like, let's all go together and watch this. And then, like, one by one, everyone's dropping out, until it was down to just, like, me and 2 other girls. And we can bleep this also.
Yeah.
This also. But it was which was, like, crazy at the time because I was crushing on and had already dated and also had a crush on but then she was like mad at me when me and him started dating.
Really?
So I was like, why were the 3 of us going to the movies together?
Right. You have to tell me how much of that you want bleeped before when I will send you a video and we'll figure that out. But that is so interesting. Actually, I have another similar story. Man, high school is so fun actually because it's like you knew everybody, and so like it was like you found yourself consistently in these situations. You were like, why am I with this group of people? But right. I also saw Pitch Perfect 2 with the most random group of people. I don't remember why. But like it was like me and Haley was there, but like we weren't exactly super close right now at that time in our life. Haley's my roommate, by the way, guys.
I was like, right now?
Not right now, but like we were friends when we were younger. Then like in high school, we lost like contact, and then we got
back to besties.
Yeah, back to besties in college. But so Haley was there, and so I remember I was sitting next to Haley, and then and there was like 2 other people, and I don't remember who they were, but I was like, what was this like group? I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
But while we were there, Haley, I remember, and again, keep in mind, we were friendly, but we had not been best friends since like 8th grade.
Right.
She asked me at the Pitch Perfect show, she was like, do you want to go to see One Direction with me next month? I was like, yeah,
I love that.
She was like, I have an extra ticket. Like, it's okay if you don't want to go. I was like, I am coming to see One Direction. And
That's
so I got to see
amazing.
One Direction in their farewell tour. Huge.
Wow.
I know.
That's so sweet.
That was, I genuinely tell her all the time, I'm like, I am so happy that we got to do that together. Because, like, just like, sorry, not to get too much, Haley listened, so hi, Haley. I'm talking about us. But, like, not to get too much into mine and Haley's lore, but, like, we just had an unfortunate circumstance where, like, we were in a kind of not really great friend group. You know, Laura, because you were also in that friend group. And so, in high school, we just didn't have a lot of classes together. And so we kind of lost touch. And then we ended up having classes together kind of like toward the end, which was enough to catapult us into being friends in college because we're like, oh, we're both going to the same place. Which is so nice. But it was like, it's what I love is like we have those like little random stories like in between our time of not being best friends to be like, but like it was still there. Like the spark, the string was still doing its work.
Invisible string theory.
It was so nice. But yeah. Anyway, Pitch Perfect 2 brings girls together. Let's not forget. Iconic.
Yeah. I used to listen to that song a lot with the lollipop or love's gonna get you down.
Okay, sorry, Belly is in the frame. Okay, here's my one critique about Pitch Perfect. I have not seen the third one. Have no idea. Sorry,
I saw the third one, but I don't remember it super well.
So, like, my thing with, like, Pitch Perfect, and I know this is not really, I think, what a lot of people think, because I feel like Pitch Perfect is for the girls and the gays, but, like, I do think I wanted more of the boy group after the first one, because I was like, okay, Belly, can you, like, let me do my thing? She forgets that this is my job.
She is having so much fun up there.
She's being crazy. Anyway,
she wants to stay in the frame.
That was so fast. Okay, anyway, you know, he like Jesse and like Benji, they're kind of in the second one, but like you can tell they're like trying to write them off.
Right.
And I was like, but they were such a huge part of the first one. I feel like we could just like easily bring them into the second one more.
No, I agree. Like part of what made the first one so good was the tension between the two genders rivals of the two groups.
Yeah. And it was like I liked because like obviously Adam Devine, who plays, I can't remember, Bumper, was that his name?
Yeah.
Like he was like the star of that group. And so, like, him coming back in the second one was funny, and they were able to, like, utilize his comedic energy. But there's still stuff we can do with, like, Jesse. Bring back Jesse.
Yeah. Like, he was the heartthrob. And Benji, I mean, come on. Yeah. Who didn't love him?
I know. And, I mean, like, he had the whole thing with Haley Steinfeld's character, which, like, I don't care, but, like...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Exactly. Sorry. But, like, I wasn't there for the romance. I was there because I just liked the character.
Right.
So I was like... Sorry. I would have written it differently, but I know there are so many Pitch Perfect fans who, like, could not care less about the men in that movie. And, like, I get it. But, like, I cared, you know?
Yeah.
I was just on Tumblr at that time where it's, like, people were, like, so into... Becca and I can't even remember her name, Chloe,
the blonde, the redhead.
So like they were really into that, and like they kind of like
shipping them, or
yes, and it was so big. Okay. So it was so big that like
I was not aware of this.
Really. Okay, so it was so big that I remember like the Pitch Perfect like campaign, they were making ads to make it seem like they were getting together. And like the girls got so mad and they were like, hey, this is something called queer baiting, and that's kind of where like queer baiting really really got
interesting.
big in the lexicon. But yeah, it's just interesting. But I was I also kind of wasn't so like, because I really only liked the first one, so after the first one I was checked out.
I saw the second one maybe possibly twice.
Okay.
Like once in the theater, once at home or something, but I'm pretty sure I only saw the third one like at the theater. And I think I went with my sisters because we were like, oh, fun, like sister day, and like we had fun going together, but we were like, okay, like that was forgettable and we can move on with our lives.
That's my thing. My thing with Pitch Perfect, sorry, not why are we talking about Pitch Perfect? Sorry.
It's fine.
This is just what you get on a YAP sesh. But my thing with Pitch Perfect is kind of like the first one felt so unique and like so a part of the culture at the time, and in a way just like kind of not, it wasn't obviously, but it felt like an indie film of sorts.
Yeah,
like kind of like this little diamond in the rough that really like, you know, broke through. And then the second one, you can just tell they got a bigger budget, and then it just didn't feel as like special anymore. It just felt too polished for me, and I was like, I don't like that this feels like it's now being like a movie that they're just like a franchise they're cranking out of the machine. Right. It just didn't have what the first one had. So,
and it's always, to me, when in sequels, like, or even like in TV shows as they go on, the characters become caricatures of their traits. From what I remember in the second one, it was just like the humor was like more forced and like less natural, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like in the first one, it's like it was funny because the actors were acting like their acting was so good and they were being humorous, but then in the second one it's like they were trying to write it to be funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, I agree. Like, it's just like, I think it's like they thought what was special about it were all the wrong things. Yeah. So just like, like they're like, well, this joke worked, so like how can we do something like that again? Right. Or like, how can we make the numbers bigger? Or like, let's write our own original song. No. Belly just like meowed so loudly. Nah, I'm taking that as she agrees. Belly says, yeah. Anyway,
I love having her back there on the windowsill. It's so cute.
She's looking at you.
Hi, Belly. Do you miss me?
She does.
You. I miss her so much because now when I come home, it's just like I don't have a car, so you always come. You don't get to like to our hometown, and I never am coming to your house.
I didn't even think about that. Like, like you don't even get to see Belly anymore. Yeah, like, that's my kid. Like, that's literally your god kid. So I don't
literally. That's literally crazy. Yeah, no pets up here in New York.
Probably better for your allergies, though.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Well, true.
Boo. Yeah, Belly. Anyway, okay. Well, I literally have. This is my list. I keep a list you can't even see. I keep a list every episode of just like ongoing things I want to bring up to you.
Okay, let's hear some.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this one says Taylor Masters. I was like, yeah, we have to talk about Taylor Swift because this is huge, you guys. Yeah. It's probably gonna be old news by the time we post this, but like, right, it's new news to us. Anyway, yeah. So like, slay to Taylor Swift getting her masters. Like, that's actually huge.
Yeah, I was explaining it to someone and who doesn't like know a lot about Taylor Swift. You know, it's one of those things where it's like Taylor Swift has enough money for lifetimes, right? Like, she doesn't need more money. She doesn't need the money from her original like recordings and stuff. Yeah. But I was like, but she is like in a position of power and influence to make that move, and because she's like, well, obviously it's important to her, and it's like it's important for artists at large, you know, and it's like, so she is able to, she's like making a move to set a precedent for that will hopefully continue after her, and it won't be as, hopefully there won't be as many artists in situations that are like being taken advantage of, or like their masters are like being kind of like held over their head or whatever. Exactly. It's very interesting to be living through and witnessing like history being made of like in the music industry.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, sorry, and not to get too much into Taylor Swift, we all know that she makes a lot of money, and I'm not here to defend a billionaire, but like, I think there are people who think in a way that genuinely think that this was a cash grab scheme, and I'm like, are you kidding? Because like, what's interesting about this is like, 5 years ago, no one was talking about the logistics into getting your masters for musicians and like how difficult that can be. And it's just like, the second that somebody as big as Taylor Swift, like this household name, it's just insane to know that that's how complicated the music industry is. Yeah. And now, I mean, she said this in her letter, but she was like, I'm just hearing about from so many young people that they're being so like meticulous when it comes to like setting up deals, or like even past artists like getting a hold of their masters. I don't know, it's just, but it's never talked about. It's just like, well, that's kind of like the way of the music industry, and it's just like, now it's in a way not so okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm not saying, I'm not like,
that's it. What you're saying is good.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, something that made me like annoyed to like see on Twitter is someone tweeting like, oh, so she just like wasted her time and all of your guys' money on like making the Taylor's versions. And it's like, first of all, none of us were obligated to buy anything.
No.
So if people want to spend their money on buying her albums, like, I just get so annoyed when people are like, oh, she's like as if Taylor Swift as like the entity is like forcing fans to buy stuff. Nobody has to buy her stuff.
No.
Right?
No.
The fans want to, and if they want to, then that's their own thing. And it's like, it wasn't a waste. I mean, okay, I can't speak for Taylor Swift, right? But it's like, I don't think it was a waste of her time, because she was doing what was giving her the most ownership that she could have at the time. And now the tides have shifted, and like, maybe that's changed now, but at the time that was what was her best move for herself. And also, like, you know, her making the Taylor's versions and her fans wanting to be loyal and choosing to like stream the new stuff, then like basically devalued like the originals.
Yeah, exactly.
Which made it more possible for her to buy them back. So it's like, I don't think she's mad, and I don't think the fans are mad. So when people who like are haters, like, and you know, people don't have to like Taylor Swift, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when they like say stuff like that, I'm like, you're just like speculating, and it's just like not true. So
100%. I saw a tweet that said something about how like the people were not spending money because of like the whole, like they were getting like gotcha'd almost into like being like, you can't stream old Taylor Swift music. Like, it's like, it was always a thing where it's like, the fans are so passionate about her that they're like, we want to support you in any way, shape, or form, because we love you and we love the work that you put in, and we know that like this is the best, most ethical, I'm saying that in quotes because I don't know, but like, but like most ethical way that to consume her music. And it's like to kind of like limit that down to like this whole like, oh, gotcha, like you guys just spent so much money for no reason. Like, it's like, no, like everybody was happy to do it for the cause,
right?
It's never gonna be something about, you know, like she's like exploiting her fans to get more money. It was more so like she was taking the fans through the process, and the fans were like wanting to be there with her. Yeah.
And like, I'm a CD girl, which like I don't really have a CD player here, and now that I don't have a car, like I used to listen to CDs a lot in my car, and so like I've bought all her Taylor's versions on CD. Like I have not every iteration of everything, right, but like all the original versions of her like 11 albums and the Taylor's versions. And it's like, I'm somebody who, I spent money on those, and it's like, I do not care that it's like, I can listen to the originals now, which first of all, I think if you have a CD or a vinyl anyways, like, since it's not streaming, it didn't really matter, I guess, but like, but it's like, I'm not like, oh, I can't believe I bought these, and like, you know, it's like, that's still like an artist that I love created something that I want to listen to. And like, especially some of the older ones, it's like those came out when we were 10 or 12 or 15, for sure. And now it's like, you got Taylor was 10 years younger, and so it's like, it's fun to be like, oh, and now I'm grown up and Taylor's more grown up, and let me listen to it now. And it's like you get a fresh or like a new take on something you loved as a kid. I don't know, I'm so nostalgic, like that's kind of fun. So
yeah. And also, you know, I think a lot of, not only did Taylor's versions kind of give us new songs too, which
true,
like it's like we're not just buying the same songs over again, just recorded differently. Like we're also getting new content, so it's a completely new thing anyway. But also I just I think like every Taylor's version I got introduced again to a song that maybe I didn't pay so much attention to, and now is like one of my most favorite songs. Like for example, I remember when This Love came out. It came out before 1989 Taylor's version, and I just remember like listening to that song on repeat over and over and over and over again, and I was like, what, the song is so good. Like it's just like completely like my opinions on it, which it weren't ever bad, but I just like was like, yeah, like it's like the slower song on 1989 like changed completely, because I was just like, wow, like I never really like gave it like the proper singular attention it deserved outside of the album. And because I was able to do it, it's like now one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. So it's like little things like that, you guys. It's so fun. And at the end of the day, we got 10 Minute All Too Well out of this experience, and so peace and love. Red Era rocked so hard. That was so crazy. And
was that the first one?
No, so Fearless was the first one, but she like really went hard on like promoting Red.
Yeah, because the Fearless one, I feel like it was like we were like, oh,
Fearless came out of literally nowhere. And like I don't think she knew exactly what she wanted this whole process to look like, and I don't know if she actually ever figured it out. I'll be honest, because it was a bit here and there, which I'm not complaining. Like it's just it's a random kind of project for any celebrity to do, so it's like but like Fearless was just like, you know, kind of just like given to us, and we were like, okay, yeah, sweet, thank you. And then Red, she went hard with like the campaign for that, and because obviously she had like so many new tracks, she was promoting All Too Well,
the music video,
exactly, like that's so good. And like I was at my lowest mentally, but obsessed with like that time period. I'm still so nostalgic for it, and that's the power of Red TV. Literally is the power of Red TV.
But it's just so interesting to witness, and it's also scary to think about, like, that someone can just spend $360 million. Like, what, you know, like it's just like life and money is like crazy.
It is really tough when you're in the trenches financially, and you're like, wow, I do forget that people are walking around with that one. So but you know, anyways, I can't get into it. I feel like one day we really should, like, I want to, in our time on the pod, work through every single Taylor Swift album.
We should.
And like what they all mean to us.
What are your thoughts on, like, you know, her saying like, oh, I only had a quarter of the album recorded, and like maybe I'll, like, for Reputation, like maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't.
So here's the thing, I'm a Reputation truther to my core. Literally love Reputation so bad. I was love you. And I've always been here too. It's like, and I know you have too, from the first moment you heard it too, like you were also on board. But like Reputation got a lot of hate when it first came out because it was so different for Taylor. I've always loved her, trust, but my thing is, like, I was really excited for Reputation Taylor's version, but now that I know that she doesn't have to do it and that she hasn't recorded much of it, I like feel like, oh, okay, like what do, like literally just do whatever you want to do. It's really fine. But she did kind of dangle that carrot of like, I have bonus tracks that if you want to hear, maybe I'll release them. I would love those. I would die for those. I would love
to hear bonus tracks. I feel kind of the same way of like, and I was talking to my friend Heidi when we took our long walk through all of Manhattan, because that's the day that she like posted. And we were talking about it, and she and I were kind of saying like, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it, you know, like truly. And I was thinking about you know, like, you know, as a dancer, you know, and performing or choreographing, like sometimes you go back and you revisit old pieces or old choreography and you make them better and you adapt them. But sometimes you do something and you're like, that was what it was meant to be, and I don't want to touch it. And so it's like I can understand her like from the creative side of being like, I'm proud of what I did, and like I don't really know how to like improve this or like put the right, you know, the right like heart and grit into it if it's not like, if she's not recording it at the time where she was feeling those emotions, you know. So it's like I can understand that. I feel like I'm pretty indifferent now, because it's like I love the original, so it's like I don't need the new one, but if she ever records it, trust I'll be listening. And I'll be loving.
I do think it's like Reputation 2 is like a trickier one because that is her most recent album of the 5 that she had to re-record. And so was it 5 or was it 6?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it was 6. Anyway, out of the number that she had to record, that was the most recent one. And so it's like she was already in her mid 20s at the time. Her voice was already developed, and like I totally see where it's also like to be in like the emotional state that she was in at the time that she wrote the songs to like also then perform it, I think adds a lot to the performance, you know. And so I do think it would just be kind of different if she redid it. And I mean, maybe it would be in a better way, maybe it would be in a worse way, maybe it would just be like there was no point in doing that other than just like having you know, ownership over my masters. But you know, that's totally fine. Like it's like I truly like the idea. What's interesting is like before this I was more excited about Reputation, but now that she's mentioned that she has debuted fully recorded and she's like really excited about that, now I'm like wait, now should I get really excited about debut? Because like that actually sounds really fun. The idea of like not replacing but like having like these songs with like your voice at like in your 30s that you originally recorded at age 16, it's like okay. And it's like not even like now, it's like what's great about this is now you don't have to hear people being like, but I liked her baby one. Like it's like, okay, then like listen to the baby one. Like this is just something where like we can just have. I'm definitely excited for the prospect of hearing debut because, you know, that's where it all started. And like, you know, I listened to that when I was 8 years old, and I'm actually coming up close to being 28 in a couple years, which is crazy. You know, I don't know. It just seemed crazy there for a moment. I had a thought. And I'll be interested to hear like how much twang she throws on or doesn't. I'm curious. That's a great point, truly. But yeah, it is interesting though that she like left debut to the very end. I was really curious why she left Reputation debut toward the end, and now it just kind of feels like, oh, okay, like this is just how it was supposed to happen.
I feel like maybe it's like you were saying about Reputation, like it was the most recent, so it was the most like, what's our angle here? And then debut is like, because it's the most furthest away, it's the most different, so she's like, it might have taken a little more thought of like, okay, and how am I going to choose to record these, and how do I want to sound? Whereas like, you know, I feel like, you know, Red or 1989, it's like she's just singing her pop songs, and she's just, you know, she has a more mature developed voice, but it's not like, obviously she made choices, but it's not like a whole different sound, you know.
That's very true. I think it just is interesting the way she decided to like approach it, and like Fearless came first, then Red, and then like Speak Now, and then 1989. Like I'm like, it's just interesting. Like we really jumped around a lot, but I mean, I'm okay with it. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Haley is like, okay, well, if we can't have Reputation, totally fine, but like I think this is maybe even a more interesting case to be like, should we get acoustic Reputation, which I low-key would love an acoustic version of Reputation, because... Are you ready for it? Yeah, like, it's like, so my favorite thing, and like, I think the Eras Tour speaks to this, because she performed almost every single song she has on that piano and guitar. So like, any Taylor Swift song can be acoustic, but something about Reputation, because like, Reputation is like, on the outside it's trying so hard to be like so cool and tough, and like, you can't, like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words could never hurt me. And then on the inside, she's like,
but it's so lover girl.
She's so vulnerable, and like, hey, is it cool if I tell you I like you? Like, is that okay?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's like, I think just like breaking it down to like that, like really vulnerable type of sound, I think it could be really interesting. So yeah. And every time she records or sings a Reputation song acoustically, I'm like, it sounds so good.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so just a thought, Taylor. I know you're listening.
Right, let us know. You can email us read the last page bookclub@gmail.com, or you can always drop a little note in our Discord.
Literally invite us to whenever you start doing those album listening parties at your house again. I would love to be on the list. Actually, I do not think I could be on the list. I don't know if I could beat her. I think I could. Yeah, you'd be really cute with her. I'd be shaken. I would literally be shaking.
Well, it's like I stood 3 inches from Lin-Manuel Miranda and I kept my cool. So it's like, I'm like, I think I could do Taylor.
Laura, like another bullet on this list I have, it says, Laura, seen any celebrities lately? So tell the Lin-Manuel Miranda story. Have you already told that?
Wait, did I tell it on the podcast last time?
For crying in H Mart? I don't think so.
Probably not. Okay, so basically, and we'll just cut it if I'm repeating myself. True, but true. Basically, the theater that I work at, Lin-Manuel Miranda was getting this award. I don't even know what the award was for.
That is not important.
No, it's not important. So they were having like this whole benefit concert like in his honor. And it was like they, like, the theater, it was like a fundraiser for the theater, so it's like these rich people spending cheapest ticket $500, others like in the thousands. Okay, so
rich people.
We're told like everyone's on their best behavior tonight, which okay, we're supposed to always be, right?
Sure.
But it was like, this is the real deal. Okay. And so anyways, so I usually work in the balcony, and in our balcony we have like the front part, it's called the loges. I don't know what that means or why. It's like instead of boxes, you know, like the box seats, I don't know. Anyways, they're like little groups of 6 seats. And anyways, same place where Susan Sarandon sat. Like she sat in one of the loges.
Okay.
And so anyways, my coworker Mike, he was like, oh, he might walk by because, you know, he's coming into the balcony to sit, because it was in his honor. So like, he wasn't performing, he was being honored. And so he ended up coming from the other side, but so there was like a cameraman, and he accidentally like left one of his like batteries or something on our side. So I was like, oh, I have to go return this to the cameraman. Okay. Perfect timing, because I'm walking to the other side of the balcony, and there walks Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I'm like, what the heck? Wow. So close to me. So he was sitting, and like I watched part of the show. We can just stand like right inside, and it was so awesome to watch him watch the show, because he was like clapping, and he was so into it, and like just so happy, and it was so fun to watch, because it was like all these celebrities performing like songs that he had written, like stuff from like Hamilton and In the Heights and Moana and like The New Little Mermaid, and like all kinds of stuff, and also just songs that were like I guess maybe relevant to him or whatever. On all these cool like mashups of songs. And I saw, side note, the original 3 Skylar sisters were there.
Huge.
Never in my life did I think I would see part of like the original cast like singing. By the way, this is from Hamilton if anyone's not aware. Like I never thought I would see like that in like live in person. I was like, it was so cool. I saw oh gosh, why can't, now that I'm on the spot I can't think of their names. Jordan Fisher.
Oh yes,
Jordan Fisher. I got a little selfie. He was in the back, and of course he was performing later. So anyways, Lynn was entering and exiting from the other side of the balcony. So before he went down to go get his award, I like ran around to the other side because my friend that was working over there, she's also like a performer, so she was like just as into it as I was, and so we just like stood there and kept our chill so well, just as he walked by, like to get backstage. Well, then, so like that was cool, you know. He just walked by. Then my friend that was over there and like our other friend, they were both working on that side. They both left early because it was a pretty long show. And so they were like, hey, Laura, like, we're leaving early. When the show's over, like, will you come to our side and, like, stand at our door? I was like, yes, I will. So I went over there, opened the doors, and then, like, I was standing kind of next to the wall. And here comes Lin-Manuel Miranda. Inches from me. I'm like, we're close enough to, like, be having a private, intimate conversation, right? But I don't say anything. Okay, so imagine like my back's to the wall. To the left of me is his wife and child. In front of me is Lynn, and to the right of me is his like bodyguard. And so it's like there's nowhere for me to go. Like I'm like trapped in a little box. And they were like talking about like, oh, should we bring our son down this way? Or like they're just talking about like where to go next and which way to go and whatnot. And I'm trying to like back up to get out of the way, but there's a wall behind me. So like, because I was like, I'm like in their personal space. Right. But there was nowhere for me to go without like walking between them. And I felt like that was going to be worse. But the bodyguard like stepped kind of in front of me. Like, I was like, I'm not trying to do anything, you know?
Right.
Like, I think he was trying to like get me out of the way, which is fine. Then I had room to like back out and get around. But like literally, it was just like so like weird to just like be so close to him, like sharing space with like this huge celebrity, huge, you know, so big in the world of Broadway and musical theater in general, and like, you know, someone I really look up to. Right. And it was just like, it was just so cool to be like, I don't know, there's something about being here in New York where it's like, okay, I was about to say something. I do not see Lin-Manuel Miranda as my peer. Okay, but like, but just being in the room with like the people that are like doing the thing, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, I'm just here and they're just here too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, cause I feel like that in, like when I take dance classes, like there's this guy's dance class that I take all the time, and he like has a company, and you know, a couple of the company members have been on like these amazing like national tours, and maybe a couple of them have been like on Broadway, but they've done all these amazing things, and in other dance classes just like, oh, and they're performing on Broadway later today, and it's just like those are people that I'm like, oh, I'm kind of their peer. I'm not peers with Lin-Manuel Miranda. Right. But it's just like, I'm just like here, and like, you know, someone has to make this theater run and function, and like I'm just one small part of that. But it's like, you know, this like, it's just, I don't know, it's just like, it's just so cool to be a part of, just a part of it, you know? Yeah, it's true. And yeah, and I didn't say anything, and I didn't freak out. I mean, I was freaking out inside, but like I like kept it so professional and so chill. and it didn't bother him or anything. I just honestly just basked in the moment of being like, I look up to this man, and like it's like I didn't really meet him, but like I got to witness him in a theater. He wasn't really performing, but just like, I'm in a Broadway theater, and so is he.
Yeah, incredible, truly.
And I got to witness a lot of amazing stuff on stage, though. One that I want to tell you, probably my favorite mashup of the night that I saw was from Hamilton. They were singing Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story.
Ooh,
and emphasis on the part of like, the orphanage, I help raise hundreds of children, I get to see them growing up. And they mashed that with Children Will Listen from Into the Woods. Children will listen.
Bruh.
I get to see them growing up. Like that sort of thing. It was so good.
Actually, I have chills just thinking about that, actually.
It
That's
was so
crazy.
good. Yeah. And they were all like Broadway professionals. Like,
yeah.
I think maybe not all of them, but most of them had worked with Lin-Manuel Miranda in one way or another. It's like, his friends kind of. So yeah, it was just like, it was just amazing.
That's so fun. Yeah. I would have gone up to Lin-Manuel Miranda and then like, do you remember that one time that you responded to my tweet?
Literally.
So 2 interactions.
The good morning, good night.
2 interactions with Lynn in your pocket. Not like, come on. That's
so we basically are peers. Maybe.
Yeah, like he responded to you as a friend, so or at least acquaintances. Totally that is so wild.
Let me try to find that tweet after this, and we can put it on the Patreon.
Okay, yeah,
if
truly.
If I can find it, we'll see.
Oh, yeah, what a time. I remember just like freaking out for you when that happened, and I was like, everyone, Lynn responded to Laura on Twitter. This is huge.
Yeah. But yeah, and that was years ago, and never when I tweeted that did I ever think I would like be in the same room as him,
No. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
But you know what? History is happening in Manhattan, and we just
literally greatest city in the world.
So good.
It's so crazy living in New York, like specifically Manhattan, because I feel like so much media happens in Manhattan, and when you think of like moving to New York to live your dreams, like I feel like Manhattan is really what most people think of. And especially because I work in a theater that's like in Midtown, and it's kind of obnoxious sometimes, but it's like, oh my gosh, there was a time in my life where I thought I might never go to New York in my whole life,
Yeah.
And now it's like I live there and I'm seeing Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's like, what?
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And I'm getting to like take dance class with all these people that are, doing the things that I want to be doing. And it's like, that's how I'm getting better is they always say in dance class, like, stand at the bar, like in ballet, like stand behind the girl that you want to dance like, or the one that you think is the best in the class, because it like pushes you to work harder.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, it's like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm like in class with the people that I want to dance like, and I feel like,
you're standing behind Lin-Manuel Miranda like he is at that bar. Crazy. That's so fun though. I literally wish I was there, but I'm happy you got to experience that, like, truly. And also,
you can come anytime.
Let's not forget though that you also got to experience that and get paid for it.
True.
You were literally paid to be there. Literally. Huge.
Yep.
Huge. Anyway. Well, sweet.
Anything else from your list?
I don't know. I've got a long list. Okay. Well. Let's sidetrack a little bit into, because this is a book podcast. Are you reading anything at all outside of our book of the month picks?
I honestly, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Something. I did start this book. I mentioned it on the podcast before. that my friend Heidi got me. Okay, I took the cover off so it doesn't. let me.
The black book, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is that the Peter Pan retelling?
Yeah. It's like a twisted version of Peter Pan or something, but I'm literally only like one chapter in.
Gotcha. Wait, can you say the title and the author just for anyone listening?
Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot. Not everyone's watching. Mm-hmm. It's called Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a little Wendy on there. So yeah, I'm excited because it's kind of different than what I normally read. But I love, you know me, I love Disney and I love fairy tales. So I'm excited to see what it's like. But yeah, I'm literally on page 6.
Okay. I'm curious too. I feel like I've tried reading a couple like of the quote unquote like twisted kind of fairy tales, like or just like fairy tale retellings. I don't know if I've ever read one that I've really loved before, so I'm curious to see.
I'll keep you updated.
Yes, please. Sweet. I haven't. So I'm finally out of my book slump. Everybody cheered. But yes. But what's so interesting is like what ultimately got me out of my book slump is like I'm reading a lot of like nonfiction books. What?
Oh yeah.
Like literally, girl, who is this? I don't know. I've been reading this. Okay, you know about this because you follow me on Instagram. I'm really into the Beatles right now, and it feels.
Oh yeah, I have been seeing those stories.
If you told me 10 years ago I was gonna have a really massive Beatles era that would change my opinion on the Beatles, I'd be like, girl, get another personality trait. Like that is so boring. You guys don't get it. Let me figure out what exactly this book is called because it really was so iconic. It was incredibly done. Okay, so I read this book called John and Paul, A Love Story in Songs by Ian Leslie.
Ooh.
And the reason why I picked it up was because my roommate Haley and I, third Haley drop on the podcast, by the way.
Hey,
like in this
shout
episode
out
alone.
to Haley.
Shout out to Haley for real. But so we were at a bookstore together and we saw this on the table, and because it's like a love story in songs, and we're like, is this some like a McLennan? Not to get into all this. This is like a McLennan truther. Which McLennan, by the way, if you guys don't know, a lot of people in the current day ship John Lennon and Paul McCartney together, like unironically.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they just had a really complicated relationship, and I'm not.
You're always introducing me to new ships and like new terms.
It's called being chronically online. I'm very glad to introduce you to this. I'm not confirming or denying. I don't really care so much about the romantic implications. I care more so about like what we know to be true. So this is really tackling just like their complicated relationship. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to why I was telling that part of the story. Haley and I were like, is this somebody who's like writing about McLennan? like to be like, oh, and they were like secretly in love with each other the whole time. And then Haley actually went home and read it. And I was like, she was like, okay, Danny, this is actually changing my life and you have to like, not only she was like, you have to read it, but she was like, I have a lot of videos saved that I have to show you that's going to change your perspective on this relationship. And so I know. So I read it too, and it's just so compelling because I feel like there's like 1,000 Beatles documentaries and biographies you can read. They're just like so highly, like they just have a lot of people who want to know about what went down. And so I was like, what is this gonna tell me that I don't already know? But it was so interesting. It was just like the rise and the fall of that relationship is so complex, and like they're both very like interesting figures as far as like in pop culture goes. And and it would not only was like about their relationship, but it was just about like their partnership as a songwriting duo, and like they're the most successful songwriting partnership ever. And so I think out of like I don't even know how many songs they wrote, but like out of like the 200 songs or whatever that the Beatles released, like them together wrote like maybe 180. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, so like they like they're really good.
They're really good.
They're like really good. So anyway, this was just so interesting. I loved seeing like all like the behind the scenes of it, and then like kind of like how it started, and then like it ended really badly. Obviously, like the Beatles broke up.
Right.
So, and it didn't end well. They all ended up suing each other.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it gets really complicated. But they all end up suing each other, just like so that way Paul can essentially get out of the band because they were broken up under bad management, or they're trying to be under bad management. Paul was like, no, too much to get into. But anyway, so it was essentially what ended up happening was it was like Paul versus the other three Beatles, and Paul became the villain. Because naturally they're like, okay, well, he's the one who's like trying to break the band up. But then when you look into all of it, you're like, oh my God, like they were all suffering so much.
Oh,
it was just really tough. Anyway, and then of course, as we all know, like they kind of have a fractured relationship for 10 years after the breakup, and then John Lennon is assassinated. And they don't really have like a really like a better friendship than they could have had if he lived like the next 40 years or something. So
yeah,
it's just like a really tragic story. I keep telling Haley, I'm like, first of all, I could not have written a more beautifully tragic story if I tried.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where it's like I keep having to remind myself, I'm like, these are real people. Like Paul McCartney's a real person.
Yeah.
This is not a character. It's just so interesting. Like it's like the story is, that's why it's so compelling to so many people. Like the story is just so fascinating.
Yeah.
And also just sad. But anyway, I've been in a real Beatles kick. And this biography has been so good. So I really recommend if anyone's interested at all in the Beatles. Like this is a really, really good one. And I was listening to my on repeat today. And I was like on Spotify. And I got maybe like 30 minutes into it. And I was just listening to Beatles songs. And then a random other song came on. And I was like, why is this on my Beatles playlist? And I was like, oh, I'm listening to On Repeat.
Like, Ariana, what are you doing here?
Yeah, literally, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, the Beatles are so... It's always so tragic to, like, really get into a public figure who, like, was famous in a time where it was just, like, you were allowed to act kind of like a menace.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I love George Harrison. Why did he say that? You know what I mean? It's just like, well, why did he do that? So that's where I'm at. But you know what? It's just like, I'm so excited to go home and talk to my dad about it. That's really what I'm excited about. I'm like, we have to talk about Paul McCartney.
Love a good like bonding moment with dad, you know?
I know. Because it's always like, it's usually, okay, here's also my other theory. What's so lovely about the Beatles, it's tragic and lovely, but it's like, obviously they got famous because of Beatlemania, which was like, not only women, but it was like a lot of like women and young girls really getting fascinated with the band and like screaming, crying, loving them. That's how they really broke through in America and like skyrocketed. And then over time, I think it's like they really became like a dad's band. Like guys were really like taking ownership of like their love for the Beatles. And so then it became like, it kind of like switched genders in a way. But what's lovely about it is that I don't think dads can let their daughters rest without like knowing who the Beatles are. So like it kind of becomes this band where every woman you know, at least in our generation, has like an attachment to the Beatles because they know the Beatles through their dad. And that was like a window to kind of like really bonding with their dad. And so in the end, it kind of gets passed back to the girls, which I'm like, love. But usually it's like, you know, my dad explaining things to me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was not alive in the 70s. I have no idea.
Love.
Do you have a favorite Beatles song?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, not to put you on the spot.
I don't know. I would have to look.
What's the first song that like comes to your head when I just say Beatles?
I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Oh, we sang that in elementary school choir.
Yeah. But I also, you know, I like kind of Eleanor Rigby. Na, 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 na.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You know me, ranking things and choosing favorites and stuff.
Not your forte.
I really have to look.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no.
Do you have a favorite?
I've been trying to like think about it. I think it rotates. I used to say my favorite was I've Just Seen a Face, which goes like, I've just seen a face, I can't forget the time and place when we just met. It's really cute.
Yeah, I don't know if I know that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like a standard like love song, but it's like really wordy, which is why I've always liked it. But like now that I'm like really sitting with it and like I know the stories behind why certain ones were written, I'm like, I really like Come Together. I think Come Together is super good. I think in A Day in the Life is really good. I'm really into songs. Yeah, I'm really into The Ballad of John and Yoko. That one's really good. Yeah. So those are my girls currently, I would say.
I danced to Let It Be my senior year of high school in like our recital. One of my classes we did that, and it was with my favorite like dance teacher or choreographer. And it was like my senior year, so it was emotional. And I may have been the only senior in the class. That was like the most emotional I've ever been on stage, in the sense of like, I remember like I was so into the moment of like, this is my last time dancing with like specifically that class. That group of girls was like where I felt the most, because I had sort of a hard time at my dance studio, but it was like that class is where I felt the most like loved and accepted and heard and understood and like friendly. Yeah. And I was like, this is my last time dancing with these girls. And I was so into like in my head thinking about that while we were performing that I have the DVD of it, and it's like maybe to the untrained eye you wouldn't notice, but like I know, like I was like messing up all this stuff. I was forgetting what I was doing. Wow. Because I was just like so like moved by the song and the moment. And yeah, so I have a very personal connection to that song.
I love that. Wow, that's beautiful. So first of all, I love that song. And my favorite, so I in this whole era of me being into the Beatles, Haley and I watched the Get Back documentary on Disney Plus, which is literally like an 8-hour long documentary broken up into 3 different. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so over Memorial Day weekend we like watched one every day. And what it is like they released a documentary like back in the 70s of this footage of just like the Beatles in the studio writing their final 2 albums. And it was like when tensions were really high, so it was like during this time, like in the documentary, like George literally walks out and like leaves the band, and then they have to come get him back. Like that's how bad it was. Yeah. But anyway, so later on in life, like I guess in the 2020s, Peter Jackson found he got hold of all this footage, and he was like, well, I'm just gonna make like as long of a documentary as I can with the footage that works. And it was really interesting, but there's like a part where like Paul comes into the room and he's like, so I'm like working on this song, this is how it goes, and he's like, when I find myself in times of trouble, and I'm like, oh, we're literally witnessing him write the song. Yeah. It like felt like I was like watching the Mona Lisa be painted, you know? I just felt like I was like, well, I can't believe I'm getting to watch this. And he was like, I don't know, maybe we can do something here. I was like, you don't even know. This is iconic. Yeah.
And the modern day version of that is, I'm in a getaway car. I left you in the
put the money in the bag and stole the keys. That was
the last time you ever saw me. Okay, I gotta try to move how I'm sitting for a second.
Take your time.
Anyways, yeah, I love that. I feel like I listened to the Beatles a little bit during like the biggest phase maybe you could say I had was like, I'm trying to think, like middle school-ish era, whenever I used to like play on the computer a lot. Okay. Because I would make playlists, and me and my sisters, we watched American Idol, and someone on American Idol at like 2008, 2009-ish did a cover or whatever, sang Eleanor Rigby. Oh. And so then it was like, I would type in that song, and then it's like the Beatles would come up too. And so then it's like, I feel like I like listened to a few of the Beatles songs. And one time when we were like cleaning out my grandma's house or something, she said we could take whatever. And she had like the Beatles album, the one that's like red with the yellow one.
Yeah. I well, so yeah, that's just like their greatest hits.
Okay,
but like
yeah.
it's been remastered. I like honestly, I think those are my favorite remastered versions.
So I have that CD, and so me being, you know, me, I listen to that in the car a lot. So whatever's on the greatest hits.
Yeah, well, Ballad of John and Yoko is on there, so
okay,
you probably.
Well, I probably have heard it then, but I just don't know like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But,
nice. Yeah. Well, so when I was younger, my dad got me and my sisters, maybe my dad, maybe my sister, maybe my mom, I don't know, but we had like the Yellow Submarine compilation, and so essentially what I believe what it is, it's like all of the Beatles songs that can low-key count as children's music. So it's like we had Yellow Submarine, we had like Octopus's Garden, we had like maybe not Octopus's Garden, I can't remember, but like we had like, yeah, Eleanor Rigby was on there, like Get Back was on there, all the hits. When I'm 64 was huge. So I just remember always like playing that in our kitchen and like just like dancing around, and like that was huge for us. Yeah. And so like my favorite off that album was like, I really liked Sgt. Pepper's, and I remember Alyssa really liked Baby You're a Rich Man, that one. Okay,
I don't think I know it. Sorry,
but no, you're good. But and then like I just remember Michaela, my older sister, who's like so deep and intellectual. She was like, I like Eleanor Rigby, and I was like, that song's so scary. Why would you like that one?
I feel like with the Beatles, it's like I feel the same way about like Taylor Swift now. Like they just have so much music that it's like there's a song for everybody.
Yeah, truly,
well, yeah. It's hard to know everything, and like, but I feel like it's like.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like a big Beatles stan, I feel like everybody has at least one Beatles song they like, you know?
Yeah, and they were like putting out like 2 albums per year at one point, and just like truly they have so much music, and that just means that kind of like Taylor Swift in a way, but also she was just doing it by taking longer periods, but like every album you can see them changing their music style, and like they were literally like, it's just crazy to like know that like they were like singing like I Want to Hold Your Hand in like 1963, and then like 1966 or something, it's when they were like in their psychedelic era, and I'm like, that was like 3 years difference. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So but iconic, and the songs hold up, which is incredible, truly.
Yeah, I remember singing I Want to Hold Your Hand in like 6th or 7th grade, and it was all fine except for when it says, and when I touch you. You can't be 12 years old and sing that. Like, that was so uncomfortable for us, even though it's like, I know it's really not even, it's not risque or like honestly weird in any ways. It's like saying touching your hand, but something I know, I remember that. Are you hearing this?
And we had to stand there and hold hands the entire performance. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Classic. I also remember having that feeling too when like in middle school we for my choir and like that final award show performance that we did. Oh yeah. We had to sing Rocket Man. Do you remember that? You were there.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna be high as a kite by then, and we were all like and like I remember our teacher being like, he just means like he's going up into space, and we're like, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Right.
When the choir that I was talking about earlier that I was in my sophomore year, we did what is that song, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, and it says like I'm a sex machine ready to explode or whatever, and we sang I'm a swag machine. And I remember our teacher, he thought he was so like,
he was cooking.
He was so genius. He's like, we can just say swag machine. Like,
I'm so with the times. That is so funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
And it's funny because like that line is so fast. Like, I'm a swag machine. It's like you can't even tell what we were saying if it was good or bad. So. Yeah,
that is so funny.
Yeah.
I remember like also with in middle school we had to sing Live While We're Young, and there's the line where it said, tonight, let's get some. Yeah. And instead we had to go like, what was it? Tonight, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Ooh. We said clean version.
And what's crazy is like I, being me at 14, would have never known that like get some would mean anything. Like I didn't know, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess this means something inappropriate since they're making us change it. But I was none the wiser.
Truly. And like even as like a One Direction fan, by the way, because it's like that album was like not like their Bad Boy album, but like a little more risque than their first one. And so, but like we had other songs on there that were much more risque. I didn't even register when I was listening to Live While We're Young that like it was being a little promiscuous. And then like I was like, you guys are adding too much, like it's too much into this. Like I didn't even realize that we needed to be changing a line like that. Like it's not even that big of a deal.
It's like at the school dances when they like the bad words come up and they like turn the volume down, or they like, you know, they cut the music for a second so we don't hear the cuss word, but then it's like everyone's just shouting it and now we're really hearing it. Like you guys aren't helping.
That is so true. Oh my gosh.
Here's my little webkins.
Sweet. Did you
for
see
the viewers?
They're bringing it back to the web.
Yeah, but trust that I've had the desktop app downloaded, so like my play hasn't been interrupted.
You said does not impact me. Do not worry.
Because I got on often enough. I saw the warnings like 5-6 years ago, or I don't know how long it's been. Like, you have to download the app before this date, or you won't be able to access it anymore. So it's on
you
there.
Said I got it. Don't have to tell me twice. I got it. That is so funny.
Yeah. The only thing I miss is the maze and hamsters, if anybody knows what that is.
I don't
I miss that. It was like this 3D. If you got this little hamster, you could put it on there, and then it would unlock this like extra world that was like, it was like 3D, and like, oh my gosh, like it was just so fun because they had so many like daily activities. That's the thing. Something about doing daily activities on a website, it's like time to clock in.
So true. It's like why the New York Times works so well. And then you know what's great about the New York Times is after I'm done with my daily crossword, I'm like, no, let's go see what the news is.
Oh, you're better than me.
It is because, and I'll be honest, and I'm a very diligent employee. But sometimes when I am taking my 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, well, since I'm already on the New York Times, let's just keep these good vibes going. And so I'll go and I'll do that. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
It's interesting. Look at the difference of our windows for the viewers, because we're an hour apart.
Time difference. That is great. Eastern and Central. I like when we're trying to plan out what time we should record at. We like to go like 8-9 Central, 9-8 Central.
It feels like such a Disney Channel.
It's such a Disney Channel callback, and now it's like we finally know what that means. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah. True. They were like telling us 9-8 Central, like our 7-year-old butts were gonna know what the heck that meant. Like, okay, I'll tune in for 9 or 8. I don't know.
Yeah. I just at some point I picked up on like, okay, whatever the second number is, that's my number.
So see, I learned about Central Time because I did have to move to Central Time when I was 10.
Right.
And so I was always like, okay, well, we're the first one, of course. So we just go by the first one. I don't know why that extra number is there. And then we moved to Missouri. And I was like, oh, this is Central Time. Yeah. I see.
That's like not quite the same, but when I started elementary school at, okay, it doesn't matter. When I was in I'm like trying to like not name stuff.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
The house that I lived in while I was in like first and second grade.
Yeah.
I had a zip code that ended in a 2, and the school that I went to, most of the other people had the adjacent zip code. No. We all lived in like the one that ended in a 2. But then I moved, the boundaries of like our school district changed. So then I went to the other elementary school.
Right.
Well, they're one of like 15, but a different one. And then I still had the 2, like, because obviously I didn't move houses. But then, like, everyone else, for the most part, had a, the zip code that ended with a 1. Like, because we were adjacent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was so, like, I had so much pride that, like, mine ended in a 2. But then when my parents moved houses, we moved to the zip code that ends with a 1, and I'm like, I lost it.
That is so funny. That is so funny. Yeah, no. I still know my zip code for my old house and my old phone number. Like, not the one in Missouri, but in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. It's like, those things just stick with you.
Yeah. I remember having my best friends, like, phone numbers memorized, you know, in, like, 3rd, 4th grade. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 friends that were, like, my 2 friends that I would call to play with, you know.
Yeah.
And the way my parents were is, like, you had to clear all the details with them before we could, like, have a play date. So I asked, like, oh, can I hang out with friend A? And they agreed to this whole plan. Well, I accidentally typed in friend B's phone number just because, like, I just, like, pulled one of the phone numbers. But I didn't feel like I could ask her to come over and play because I hadn't cleared that with my parents. I cleared friend A, not friend B. So then I had to, like, on the spot, like, make up a reason why I called her because I didn't want to tell her, like, oh, I meant to call her other friend. And it's like, I was like, oh, I put myself in a bad situation.
Right. Well,
I didn't want to hurt her feelings, you know?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's tough. I remember because when I was younger, I remember inviting a whole bunch of people over for, like, my 5th grade birthday party, maybe 6th grade birthday party. And I remember one of my friends' moms called the home phone to, like, clear all the information, but, like, my mom wasn't home, and so I just answered the phone.
Wonder if it was my mom.
It wasn't your mom, no.
Oh, okay.
But I just answered the phone, and I was, like, talking to her, and she was like, and, like, are you sure it's okay that you have all those girls over? And I was like, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, la 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 la. Like, I'm being so professional right now. I'm, like, putting together my get together, like, just chatting with my friend's mom. Mm-hmm. But it was just, like, so funny. Like, she definitely called to talk to my mom, and I was like, oh, I'll take care of it.
Yeah. Taking care of business.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Totally cleared. We'll have pizza here by 8. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, that pizza you guys used to get.
Okay, I feel like I actually have some pride now that I'm older, where I'm like, I think I threw a pretty good sleepover or, like, birthday
Danielle,
party.
are you kidding me? That every time that I got invited over on a Friday night at your place, I was like, it's a good weekend. That's so I feel like your sleepovers, like, that was the place to be.
I love that. Okay, thank God. Actually, because, like, listen, I do feel like in life I've gone over to your house much more now.
Yeah,
and, like,
now,
raided your pantry and, like, have done that. And I'm like, man, it's so sad I've never been able to return the favor. But I'm glad that you've actually.
It started where I was indebted. Now we're even.
Okay, I love that.
Because
wow,
it was the huge pizza.
Yeah.
Those amazing cupcakes.
Yeah, we'd get cupcakes.
We could watch the movies in the backyard.
Yeah.
And then, like, we had the whole basement. Since your room was down there, it's like, oh, the whole floor is her room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great because, like, my parents, I think, are natural, like, they were born to be entertainers, but unfortunately it's just like it's just a lot of work to entertain, and I think they're just like, I don't feel like it. And so it's like we had a good run in my, like, middle school, high school days where it was like, yeah, my dad had, like, this outdoor screen where we could basically have, like, our own drive-in theater in the back. And, like, yeah, our basement was, like, so slay. Yeah. My mom was like, my mom rocks because she was like, oh, you're having your friends over, let's get pizza, like, let's like treat them, like, and so, like, we were, it was an event to have a sleepover. I remember too, like, us watching Harry Potter, back to Harry Potter, unfortunately, but like when we had our 24-hour marathon, that was a huge deal for us, especially for you because you hadn't seen it before,
right? And
so we were locking ourselves in my basement to watch it on my TV, and, like, my mom came downstairs around maybe, like, 7 p.m. She was like, Chinese food? And we were like, yeah.
Literally.
And bring us the lo mein and rice, please. Thank you so much.
And you know what's it's so funny that you said that, because I was just about to say, every time I have lo mein, I think of you. Because I had it for
thing you could have ever told me.
Because that was the first time I'd ever had it. And I was like, I didn't know what these words were that you guys are saying. Yeah, my family didn't really eat Chinese food.
Yeah.
And so, your house was the first place I had Chinese food. And, it was so good.
Yeah. Well, my mom and my sisters are huge into, any Asian food.
Yeah.
Obviously very much Americanized Asian food. But, we were, always at the hibachi grills. We were always getting sushi. We were whatever. But Chinese food, specifically the local Chinese shop that was just down the street from us, we are regulars. So we walk in and we're having rapport with the servers. So it's serious for us. But yeah, lo mein, huge. I'm so happy I was able to introduce that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got a lo mein a couple weeks ago from a place here. I don't know if it's a chain. I know there's multiple locations here in New York, but I don't know how widespread it is. It's called Spicy Moon, and it's all vegetarian. They had vegan meats and stuff, but I just got the vegetable lo mein, and it was this huge bowl. I ate the whole thing. It was so good.
That's what I love. Okay, this is what I love about Chinese food is they really do give you bang for your buck.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then but then you do eat it and then you feel kind of awful because it's so greasy in America. At least the ones well, maybe vegetarian maybe was a little better, but
but it was good. Whatever it was good.
So good though.
Yeah, and maybe one day on the pod we'll have to tell everybody about the cake.
The cake incident. Actually, the other day, Catherine, because I was of course, unfortunately, we reference a sleepover way too much all the time, and I was talking to my roommate Catherine about it, and I was talking about our Harry Potter sleepover, and she was like, "That was the night of the cake, right?" And I was like, "That cake."
I love that people just know. And we were always tweeting about it as if this was a world event that everyone knew about.
I was like, and you guys know about the cake, right? Guys, guess what? It's been 5 years since the cake. And what's unfortunate, not really unfortunate, but what's actually hilarious is maybe we should just tell the story on the pod. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when we tell it, it's okay, what is that story? But to us, it's everything.
Okay, basically, my grandparents had their 50th anniversary or something. So, but I couldn't be there for the party for some reason.
Okay, yeah.
But there was this huge cake that was made, and of course, my family got the leftovers, and we put it in the fridge. And I've never had fridge cake before.
Yeah, guys, the fridge is huge.
Fridge cake is so good. And so, Danielle, I'm going over for our 24-hour marathon. I'm well, we need movie snacks.
True. Laura, what I love about you are never walk into a sleepover empty-handed. You're I am bringing the goods. Do not worry.
Yeah. So I brought a couple boxes of cereal and this big Tupperware of cake.
Wait, was the cake a themed cake? Was there a cow on it?
Yes. So my grandma, she loved cows and stuff, and so and they lived on a farm and everything. So out of fondant, there was this whole farm scene, a barn and these little animals, but then the rest of it, I think it was just black and white, cow print. And so we had this huge thing of this huge container of cake. And backstory into my life, I was like eating really healthy at the time, and I was like trying to lose weight, and so like I hadn't really been eating a lot of like sugar. And like snacks and junk food. Yeah. But for this marathon, I was like, yeah, calories don't count. Like, you know,
exactly.
And so I went so hard on this cake. I remember we had it in a container, and we were like both eating from one side, and like so quickly, it's like I've eaten my half.
Okay, this is how it felt like it went for me. It's like you were eating the cake, and I say like it's so funny. Like I But like, I think I had a couple bites and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good cake. But like, I was more focused on the other snacks. And you were kind of like, are you going to eat? Like, do you want more cake? Are you going to eat this cake? Because I was going to eat it all. You could not stop eating the cake. It's so funny.
I was like, we should have read this okay, anyways, personal eating disorder signs, but I was maybe the first sign, but it's okay. Guys, I'm okay. But then like there was leftovers either from that night or that I hadn't brought, and so like I was just texting Danielle every time I was eating this cake, and I like took this Snapchat. I was like, well, finish the cake.
The cake is gone. I just love to think about you in that house. Like the cake is like siren calling to you, and you're just like, gotta go get my bite of cake. And like I know that you were just taking a bite out of the cake every time.
That's so funny that you said that, because when my parents were in town, my coworker like made us a cake for just like for my parents, just because we're friends and stuff. That's sweet. But we took it back to my parents' hotel room, and we had gotten like forks just like from the Starbucks, but we like didn't have knives, so we just like ate into it, you know what I mean? And I showed a picture to my coworker Mike, and he was like, you guys didn't like cut it into slices, like you just eat out of the cake. I was like, yeah. And then he made another cake for my friend who just had his birthday, and again we just like ate directly into the cake, and he was like, is this just like what your family does? like I don't know, but like now that you're saying that, I'm like, is this a pattern?
Well, it's like sometimes I'm just like, your house is also very famous for having like little just like treats, kind of baked goods around, and so like I like know from sleepovers like you just like open up the brownie like container, and you just like nibble off a tiny piece of the brownie. It's like got a little fork of brownie.
Yeah, it's like, we never want to commit to like cutting a full piece, but so you just go back 4 times for like a little strip, and it's like you should have just gotten a piece.
And what I love about it is like your whole family like is so like this is just so the vibes. It's just so funny. Like you cracked me up.
I feel so perceived.
No, it's just so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that is the cake, and the cake. It was just a huge day when we finished it. And it was so funny in the moment that now it's like it has become the inside joke, and we have to just keep it going. We can't let the cake die.
I'll find the picture. We can put it on the Patreon.
Exactly. Finally, we tell the story of the cake.
You can just tell it's like 2016 or whenever it was, because I'm wearing these like black and white, like, you know, like the Aztec print, like leggings, like it's so.
Don't you have like a Pippin shirt on?
Yes, my Pippin shirt.
This
is how well we know the picture. Like
it's like iconic. It's
like on Snapchat with a little text box,
and you're like, well, yeah, just ate the cake.
So that means I'm pretty sure it's 2016, because it was like during our senior year of high school. So
yeah,
next fall will be 10 years.
10 years since the cake. Wow.
And guys, like, it was an exorbitant amount of cake. That's why it's so.
No, it's so funny because you brought a tub. And like a good portion of it was finished by the end of the 24-hour sleepover, and I probably took 3 bites. And that's why it's funny. Like, it's hilarious because like it just like you were committed to the cake.
Yeah.
And I love it so hard. Anyway, but that was just, it was the vibes. You guys had to be there at the 24-hour sleepover. Like, it was like, you guys, we were so, there was a point where we could not delirious. We were so delirious. We could not get the fifth movie to load.
Hey, why the long faces?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's other backstory. Sorry, not to but it's just like my TV did not have a remote for the DVD player. And so mine and Laura's kind of strategy here was like, okay, well, you know, the thing's gonna play until it just like will play on its own. You know what I mean? Like that opening, like credits, like you can like the start menu. That's what it is. And so like usually it kind of just like
it goes to quick play.
Yeah, it worked. And so we were like, okay, we just have to wait a little bit. Oh my goodness, we got to the 5th one and the 5th one would not play, and we were like, okay. And I just remember like me and you were like, where is the remote? Like we were getting
angry because it was like hey, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, like it was 1,000 times.
2 a.m. We were like, we have like 6 more hours of this.
Yeah,
we just have to get through this one. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
So those were the vibes.
I don't even remember how it got resolved. I don't
either. I really don't either.
But somehow we watched it.
Yeah. And man, and I've only ever done a complete watch through of Harry Potter. I only done that one other time other than the one time we did it. And I don't think I ever want to do it again because it's just like it's tough. And once you do get to the 5th and 6th ones, which I actually like, the 6th one is one of my favorite movies of the series.
Is that Half-Blood Prince?
Yeah, I love that one. And like by the time I get to that one, I'm just like tired. And like I'm not in the mood for like, you know, angsty Harry and Ron. Like I don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, because it was my first time watching them all, and like then eventually one day when I watched them again, like the 7th and 8th movies, I was like, oh, I've never seen this before, because like we were so like
tired.
You know, like our eyes could not open,
literally
open,
like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I remember being so excited when we got to the last one and we're like, hey, let's sleep. We're sleeping. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but that was huge. That was huge. I wouldn't
huge.
I wouldn't replicate it for the world.
Nope.
Yeah, but all that's to say, JK, bye JK. Not a fan.
Yeah,
not a fan.
And that's why I have replaced my turn on a movie in the background with partly National Treasure. Another one that I like a lot for some reason is like The Incredibles. That's just like
do you watch both or just the first one?
Either.
Okay.
Yeah, both. So yeah,
that's a good one. You know what? And like a National Treasure, just 4-hour marathon, so much more appealing than a 24-hour.
Yeah, that's what's great is that there's 2. I guess maybe that works. That's why The Incredibles and National Treasure works, because it's like depending on how long I'm doing stuff, you know, I can either do 2 hours or 4 hours, you know.
Yeah, true.
It's nice.
That's nice. Yeah, we'll say.
Yeah. Love.
My
my movements are like kind of slow on my end. Do they look
I see that.
Yeah.
Is it, are you having Wi-Fi issues maybe?
I don't think so. I think it's just like I move a lot and the lighting, you know, sometimes like when the lighting's bad, it's like it can't keep up. I think probably because like look how dark it is outside.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
So
point,
sorry if you're watching and I look like like I'm in slow-mo or something.
Oh yeah. I always wonder, I'm like, are people really coming here for like the visuals?
Probably not, but
no, I've never like sat down on YouTube to like watch one of our pods.
Yeah,
like, after I'm done editing, I'm like, okay, and that goes to whoever wants it. But like,
yeah, I listen on Spotify.
Yeah, I listen to it on Spotify. So you know, but I guess people like it. My mom.
Yeah, maybe people want to see Ellie, my elephant.
Your elephant. So cute.
My very first Webkins.
Wow, I had a penguin.
That's
I
cute.
believe. Yeah, that was huge.
Oh my gosh, this episode's been long.
Yeah, we've been talking for like 2 hours, so.
All right. I hope everyone enjoyed. I love when we have no plan.
No, we walked in, we were like, what are we gonna talk about? Immediately, what are your takes on National Treasure?
Yeah. All right, well, thanks everyone for listening. It feels so silly to end them.
I know
when we don't have a plan.
But
thank you everyone for listening to Read the Last Page. Our music and illustrations were made by the amazing Sage Timothy.
If you don't know our schedule yet, we host a book club episode once a month, and this month we are reading Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. So if you want to join us for our spoiler-filled discussion of that book, make sure you pick it up if you haven't already, and you can look out for that episode on the first Friday of July.
Before we get to the last page, though, we want to say thanks for listening, and you can find us on your podcast platform of choice, or if you'd rather watch your podcasts and watch me be in slow-mo, you can find us on YouTube at Read the Last Page. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Discord, and Patreon.
Yes.
For now, we want to say bye from B
and Dan.
Bye.